Arlo and the Secret Book of Silver Oaks. Arlo was a curious 8-year-old boy who lived in a small village surrounded by green hills and tall oak trees, and every morning he walked to school with his best friend Lina, who carried a red backpack filled with colored pencils and a sketchbook. But one day when he woke up he noticed something strange. A small leather book lay on his bedside table, glowing softly with silver light and covered in tiny oak leaf patterns, and Arlo did not remember owning this book, so he picked it up carefully, opened it, and found that its pages were blank except for one line that said, "Open your heart and the secret will appear," which made Arlo feel excited and a little nervous. He showed the book to Lina when she arrived, and her eyes grew wide as she whispered that she had never seen a book like that either. So they decided to solve the mystery together and explore the oak forest after school, packing a small bag with a sandwich, a bottle of water, a pencil, and Lina's sketchbook so they could write or draw anything new in the secret book. When school ended, they ran home, said goodbye to their families, and hurried into the forest where the ground was soft with moss and the sun shone between the leaves, creating dancing light patterns, and birds sang cheerful songs as they marched deeper into the woods, following narrow animal trails until they reached the great silver oak at the center of the forest, which was tall and wide with branches that reached the sky and a trunk strong enough to hide many secrets. Arlo placed the leather book on a flat root and whispered the line again, "Open your heart and the secret will appear," and for a moment nothing happened, but then a gentle wind rustled the leaves above, and a soft voice seemed to echo from the tree, asking them to place their hands on the bark and listen with care. Lina touched the trunk and closed her eyes while Arlo did the same, and they felt a calm warmth spread through their fingers, and suddenly words began to appear on the blank pages of the book, telling of a hidden path of silver stones that led to a secret glade where creatures of magic lived when no people were watching. The first chapter described how to find the stones by counting oak leaves on the ground in groups of 5. So Arlo and Lina looked down and saw that the leaves formed groups of 5 in a perfect line to the east, and they followed that line until they came upon a row of shiny flat stones that glowed in the fading daylight like small mirrors. They stepped carefully on each stone, and as they did so they heard soft musical notes under their feet. And after the 5th stone they reached a sparkling clearing where ferns grew in circles, and at the center lay a round stone table with 3 seats carved from white marble. When they sat down, a gentle mist rose around them, and a small family of foxes with silver fur appeared. The mother fox spoke in a calm voice that only kind children could hear, inviting Arlo and Lina to share the secret book's first message. Arlo opened the book and read aloud that the next step was to bring 3 gifts of friendship, a flower for kindness, a feather for freedom, and a stone for trust, and Lina nodded and reached into her bag for a small blue flower she had picked earlier, and Arlo took a white feather from his pocket that he found on his way to school, and they searched the clearing for a smooth river stone to place on the table. When all 3 gifts were set on the table the foxes bowed their heads and the mist cleared, revealing a hidden door carved into the trunk of an ancient oak. The door had no handle, but Arlo saw a small leaf-shaped keyhole, and Lina found a silver key behind a fern that fit perfectly. So Arlo turned the key and the door opened with a soft creak to reveal a wooden staircase spiraling down into the earth, with lanterns glowing on each step. They remembered their promise to each other and to the foxes to be brave and honest, so they held hands and walked down together, stepping into a lit tunnel where walls were lined with old books and tiny lanterns hung like stars. And when they reached the bottom they found themselves in a cozy library with round windows, soft chairs, and shelves filled with books about forest history, fabled heroes, and songs of birds. At the center sat a wise old owl wearing small spectacles, reading from a scroll, and the owl greeted them kindly, asking if they were friends to the forest. Arlo showed the secret book, which now had new pages filled with the words they had read aloud, and Lina sketched the library in her sketchbook, and the owl said that the secret book was a living story that grew with every act of friendship, and that Arlo and Lina had taken the first steps to becoming protectors of the woods. The owl then offered them 2 owl feather quills and a small jar of golden ink, telling them that they could write new chapters when they helped any creature in need or learned a new truth from nature. Arlo dipped a quill in the ink and wrote their names and the date, and Lina wrote a short poem about oak leaves, and the castle of books glowed warmly as if thanking them. After a while the owl said it was time to return, so they climbed back up the staircase, closed the hidden door, and found themselves back in the glade where the foxes waved goodbye before slipping into the underbrush. Arlo and Lina walked home under the rising moon, feeling proud and joyful, and when they reached Arlo's house they showed the secret book to his grandmother, who smiled and praised their courage and kindness. And that night Arlo placed the secret book on his bedside table, opening it to see blank pages that seemed to wait for new stories, while Lina placed her feather quill and ink next to her sketchbook, dreaming of new adventures. And from that day on, whenever they walked in the forest they looked for small acts of friendship to write in the secret book, knowing that kindness, curiosity, and courage could turn any blank page into magic.